Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending yet, folks. It's your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, we had a big weekend last week. Actually, kind of a bit of this week because Sunday is the first of this week, and Saturday is the last of last week. So it's kind of colliding with a big weekend. So we had a couple of shows that was hitting. Two of these shows were pro qualifiers. One was the last pro qualifier for women's physique that was yesterday, and that is the Europa Championship. And we had at least also another pro qualifier women's physique that was the Rising Phoenix, and two pro qualifiers for women's bodybuilding, both Rising Phoenix and Europa Pro. But we have one more. It's the last women's bodybuilding pro qualifier. Olympic qualifier. That's going to be Anaheim, California. That is the Titans Grand Prix. Now, this show started last year. No, some ladies who I know competed there. A good friend, Tina Williams, competed there. She was in the top 5 of that show. A couple ladies also who I had the pleasure to be on my challenge guest, and also who won that show last year was Hunter Henderson. The list is not out yet. Probably might come out around about 5 or 6 o'clock, depending on y'all will. Once we get the know when the list is out, we share it and let y'all know. So, folks, here we have here my guest here. We usually, my man here, our nephew here, Alex.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing, son?
doing okay. Anything's better than waiting. I had a. Usually I would go to work on Monday, but for some unexplained reason they didn't post any shifts today. So I was like, oh, I had to do something today. So here I am.
Oh, so I had something to do, huh? I appreciate you, for coming through. I really do. So, folks, today we're gonna have a discussion about, as you know, this year the Rising Phoenix. Well, it's kind of not like we want to see. You know, it was well, kind of. And we look at for the women's bodybuilding aspects of it, it was kind of not as great like it used to be in the past. As you know, early this year, the promoters, Weakness Strength, and also Jake Wood has announced they are changing. They changed the format of the show. As you know, it was for a long time the Women's Bodybuilding World Championship, and it was a show that came in to replace when promoters and also Miles said IWB, as I often said this, while they walk quite behind women's bodybuilding and stabbing the odds. Um, it's disappointing that they pushed out these divisions and didn't give them a chance like in the past. But then Jake and his then former wife, they created the show. It was around about in 2015. It was part of the Texas Pro originally, but then it went on its own, became its own show. It's been around for about 11 years now. And then a lot of ladies have been champions. You had Marching was the first champion, the first double champion. Then you had Helen Trevino who won the title. Then you had Lena Pope who won the title. Helen won it back. And then after that, for straight 4 years, you had Andrea Shaw. And then you had the last women's world body champion, Angela Yo. So as you know, this year because of Jake is trying to be a bit competitive because the Honest Wizard Classic, they just shot up the money to about around, I would say, nearly a quarter of $1 million. In plain English, around $750,000. And then for that he had to make some cuts somewhere, and one of the cuts was the Rising Phoenix. I think I talked about before, where back in the day it used to have an incentive. Like, some ladies would go there, their trip was paid for, especially women's bodybuilding division. Most of the women's bodybuilding division trip was paid for. They was getting per diems. My man Big Keith, he put me on that. And also they also did photo sessions. They got paid for that. Well, excuse me. This time around, those things were taken out. As you know, back in 2023, the winner would get a car. And what happened was, because in 2023, they announced no more cars because they were now doing, We Strength was now promoting the new Masters Olympia show. Well, actually, what's new is a return of it. As before they used to have back in the day, but it was mostly the guys. But now you had all the other divisions. So that was something they lost. Also, the cutout was it used to be a thing called Best Video. If you remember that, where competitors would make a video and they would you know pull it out and they would a prize for you. I think it was like about a couple $1,000. There were some other awards like Best Poser, Most Muscular. A couple of times I know Andrea won that title, but to me, one time in 2020 she won. I don't think she deserved it. No offense to Andrea. That year it should have went to Monique Jones. She was way muscular than Andrea. To me, that's just my. I know, guys. I know I'm a fan of Andrea. I love her, but for that year, it should have been Monique Jones to win that title. But so, if you didn't hear the last weekend, Saturday, me and my man, um, you know, Alex, and also my man KL, we did a post finals commentary show, and we talked about the Rising Phoenix. We'll look at most of the divisions. Mostly, we'll focus on women's physique, women's bodybuilding, because those divisions we pay attention more. I did watch some of the fitness and figure, but after that, bikini is too deep for me to be interested in. Too many competitors, and most of them I don't even know them. And wellness is about the same. But also, like I said again, I want to give a shout out. Since that weekend was a big weekend for the five time, five time, five time. It should have been six this year, but it's five. Rising Phoenix champion Andrea Shaw. She wanted to compete in this show, and as you know, this year's show was top three competitors. So two ladies had got their qualifications for the Olympia. We'll show them a little bit later, but also one young lady. Her name is, you might recognize her. Her name is Sarah Missick. If I got her name wrong, I apologize. But she's better known as Sarah Quill from Australia. You know, Quail, I think it's Quail Hill, whatever his name is. I think it's Quail. Was her first Olympic qualification. She's one of the handful of ladies from Australia to make the Olympia. A few female bodybuilders here, and then I think she's the second physique pro to make it to the Olympia. Also, it is again the same weekend. Alcyon Barreto, she won at the Europa Championship. That show was in Germany that Sunday because they're on different time zone. It didn't take long for I think the prejudging was there early in the morning, so probably when we were still sleeping and snoring and sawing trees.
Yeah, I was very early in the morning. I couldn't. I was there when it happened before we realized it.
Yeah, and it was too long for the finals, and I was like maybe right about later that morning, probably around about I think 9 or 10 o'clock. I think about 9, because it wasn't that long for I saw the pictures from the prejudging, then I saw the pictures of the finals real quick, and also winning first her first Olympic qualification. This is her second year as a pro. Is Carla Torres Cruz. Miss Cruz, she did at least 3 shows previously. She was second runner. She was actually first runner up to Robin Mays at the Toronto Super Show. Then she took third place at the Portugal Pro. Didn't do well in Chicago, and then did this show. And I was kind of surprised. She lives in Mexico. So you would think she would rather maybe do like a show like the Rising Phoenix. It's a little it's across the border. You wouldn't have to go all the way to Germany. But my guess she felt like it was a better shot because if you look at the list from the Rising Phoenix and with physique, there was like at least over 20 women for that show. So and at the Europa Championship, I think it was like about 14, 15. So and she felt like she had a better shot. So I think that was fair. But when I saw the pictures from the prejudging, she was kind of on the outside. It was between Alessandra, Da Silva and Nadine Phoenix. I was certain it was going to be between those two. I felt like it was going to be Alessandra is going to win the title there. But then when it was no more than Barry Allo after I saw that picture, then I saw they're showing Carla, and I was like surprised. I was surprised by it. And Alex, we were watching the show when we saw that Sarah won at the Rising Phoenix. It was kind of, it was like it was a three-way battle at one point between her, Tiffany Walker, and Janine Feldman. And I think she kind of edged those two because I think she has a youth advantage. She has good conditioning. I mean, both Jenny and Tiffany are over the age of over 40, and sometimes that youth can give you that little more advantage, especially genetics. We have here comments here. Shout out to our man Job Simpkins. He says this. He says, uh, "What's good, George and Alex? I
Okay,
appreciate you,
we're doing.
brother.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you, sir." Also, our man KL. He says, "Sarah is thumbs up. She's all right." And
Yeah, she,
also,
and her, yeah, I recently, she recently made I made a comment about congratulations. She liked it. So very it's getting somewhere. Yeah,
yeah. I'm never paid much attention to her. I think I've seen some stuff. Actually, a while back, somebody sent me this video. It was a few years ago when she was getting her pro card. It was the same show. Her and Tracy were in the same show together. And
really.
I think I can find it. She won a pro card at the same show with Tracy, but Tracy's husband was not too happy. It's somewhere. It might be. I can't remember if it's on Tracy's IG or it's on her husband's IG. It might be on her husband's IG. And if I find it, maybe I might pull it up one day. Um, Shout out to my man, KL says, Carla, he has hearts for her. I mean, yeah, she's, I mean, I was actually at somebody who knows she does a little judging. They told me one thing about Carla is she has a great quads, a small waist, but she needs to work on her lat and her back. She needs to bring them out a little more. Because one thing, if you ever watch one pose she doesn't do too often, I've been paying attention to her, is the ab and thigh pose. That's when you really see how, depending on how you do it, if you do the traditional double hands, you really see a lat stuff flare out and really kind of brings in a taper to your waist. And if you do kind of like, I would say, kind of the more feminine, I would say lazy style like that, it doesn't, some women do it either way.
Yeah, the abdominal thigh pose. Yeah, I've noticed they've been doing an alternative method. So I mean, I've seen some athletes doing the one hand behind their back while putting their other arm on their waist. Like there are, I swear, they're trying to mimic Andrea Shaw. Like they're trying to be like her.
Well, that's been around for quite some time. It's not Andrea that's the first one to do it. And there's others that do it. It's just that in physique, I say actually physique supposed to do that pose because it's supposed to be more. It's supposed to get away from the style of women's bodybuilding because most women bodybuilders would do traditional, ab and thigh pose like the men because their pose is supposed to be similar to the men, but they are, I think, with physique, they're supposed to be less muscular, masculine kind of style, more feminine, because that's why they do the open hands when they do their front doubles and
Okay.
rear doubles. They do their side. They don't do like pull like this. We do like pull like arms and crunch up. You see the tricep real good, where they just extend their arms out because And you remember before, Andrea was doing physique.
Yep, she was a figure, and before that, she was again. I think she's one of those athletes that made quite a transition in her history, in her life, and I think so unexpectedly made a huge impact in the sport. If we're
Yeah,
still
she
calling it that.
Well, it's funny that I had somebody sent me this thing. It's crazy, and I think I shared it with some people. It's shout out to my man. I got shout out to my man. It was sent to my man David from Female Body Forum. He sent me a link. It was a picture he took, and I think he was watching TV. And it was it was on an ESPN,
Yeah,
and
they used to do.
they have cherry pit spitting competition.
That's a sport. They call it a sport there on their channel.
It's, I mean, I, it's supposed to be. I mean, I don't eat cherries like that. If I do eat cherries, like it's like if somebody put it into like a cocktail, something like that. But regular cherry has a little pit in it, like a peach. So when you eat it, you just spit out the. So somebody actually made. I mean, you know, we got here from just from a man, and Caleb says Joyce, did you see Body Odyssey with Jay Fuchs?
I heard
No,
of
I
it,
don't
but
know.
I haven't seen. I don't know. I think you have to pay for it in order to watch it. I mean, I was lucky that I was able to get a copy of Irene Anderson's documentary of Too Big for the World. I consider myself very lucky that year. I have it
Yeah, I
like
know.
I still have it on my laptop. I actually have a digital copy of it.
I know a friend of mine. She did a documentary. Tisha Thomas, the Tigers.
I have, yeah, me too. I actually got that copy too. I actually have a copy of that on my computer too. I was
Yeah,
waiting for
she's
that to come out. I
yeah
hope
she sent me.
Tisha's doing. I know she's retired, but I hope she's doing well.
Well, I know she was doing some stuff now. She's doing her trying to train. Also, I think she ran back. She did a little marathon. We used to keep in contact, but after a while, kind of like sometimes things happen. People fall off. Whatever. He said this says both of you should see the movie Body Odyssey. Okay, that's cool.
I'll think.
Uh,
Well, when we find a way to watch it, sure.
Here he goes. Says it's free on for awesome and Tubi and Plex. I don't
Okay.
have.
Thank you for informing us about that. I didn't know that.
Well, like I said, Tubi. That's why I say, what? I remember man Raheem said like this. Tubi is someplace I think bodybuilder can go to. As Tubi is also doing the NFL. They play NFL games. If I don't know if whoever, if maybe I don't think Jim Manion thinks about that, but I think his grandson Tyler might think something like that. So let's move over to Tubi. Let's we can show our shows over there in the competitions. But that's up to them. So folks, what we'll do is I'm going to pull up. This is an interview that Andrea gave after the Rising Phoenix. As you know, I'm a fan of Andrea. She's my girlfriend, and I think she's an amazing lady. I would love to someday to have her
And
as a guest.
was also it was worth noting that this was also worth noting that this was also her mother's birthday. And tell you to let you, there's something I should address. My mother's birthday is in September too, so I guess Andrea and I have to have something in common then.
That's really cool. My mother's birthday was in April, April 16th. So here she goes doing a little interview.
Okay, I'll remember that.
What's up, guys? I'm IFBB Pro Renee Harshi here at the 2025 Rising Phoenix. I am here with the beautiful five-time Miss Olympia, who is also now a five-time Rising Phoenix Women's Bodybuilding Champion. How are you feeling?
Amazing, amazing. I mean, I had a year that was off last year, and this year feels like I'm back where I need to be. So
Yes.
it feels good.
Well, I have to say, I am blessed enough. I get to see you every day training, doing cardio, doing posing practice. You do not miss a beat. What is your mentality, or do you have a mantra to maintain that level of focus?
Yeah, I think that I always think about the end in mind typically. And when I'm laser focused, it's all about making sure that when I get to this day, I've done everything that I know that I could have and should have to check the box off. So making sure that, every day there's a goal, or every week there's a goal, and that you check the box off. That's because every day counts, right? Because before you know it, you can attest.
Yes.
I mean, we're already looking at 4 weeks out from the Olympia, so it comes so fast. So you have to have something that holds that extra little oomph to bring you to task. And I think that getting those daily and weekly goals, for me, it plays a huge role in keeping the fire lit and making sure I stay on
Yes,
track.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have to say that watching you today, this might be the best Andrea Shaw that we have seen. What can we expect going into the Mr. Olympia?
I would definitely have to agree. And I kind of had the feeling as we were getting closer throughout the prep, because we implemented some new things this prep. And this is the first time that I've spent the entire prep down in Arizona. And it's definitely a questionable decision in the beginning, because I'm like, do I want to be away from home for 4 months? But then I thought about giving the extra, giving, my full commitment once I actually land here. And then there's no excuse to not be a full-on athlete, right? So I think I'm going to take that same mentality into the Mr. Olympia, but now it's going to be amplified, because I was telling Coach, I said, there's only 4 weeks. But in 4 weeks, prep time, it's a lot of time to make some good progress.
Absolutely.
So, we have, tonight I'll get a nice meal. Even though I chose salad, I still chose a hearty salad and some snacks. But, I really want to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can, because I really do feel in my heart that, like, I want to see what Andrea looks like at that next 100% level. And I think we can attain that within these next 4 weeks, but it is going to require some effort on my part. So that's where, yeah, I believe at this Mr. Olympia, you're going to see the best physique to date for Mr. Olympia.
Awesome. Yeah. We are so excited to see you again on that stage. Is there anybody that you'd like to thank?
Plenty of people. Obviously, I love to thank all of our team at Pro Physiques. I mean, we have an amazing squad there that just the energy is so good, and I just can't thank everyone enough for all of the kind words, all of the encouragement. Definitely Wings of Strength, all of their team, the Olympia team, because it's a huge production and undertaking, right? Jim Mannion, Tyler Mannion, for allowing us to put these events on. It's a huge life-changing, right, thing that they've done, and they've paid their dues on their part. Tyler's still getting a huge amount of feedback, and I took that feedback really to heart. So I thank them for their endless efforts to continue to help us athletes get better. And I want to thank my mom. She chimed in on many occasions proposing.
I've seen it. I do see her mom on that camera.
And today's her birthday, so happy birthday, Mama.
Happy birthday,
Your
Mama.
package will be there soon. But I thank my posing coach, Sydney Gillen, her mom, who's also her birthday's today, Miss Tangela Gillen. And I just thank all of the team and friends that have come together to really rally around me, my team back in Michigan, everyone at Anytime Fitness. Everybody plays a huge role in making sure that what you see on stage day really comes into play. But so many people to name, but I thank you all so endlessly. You'll receive thank yous, I'm sure, from me later on, but I'm so excited. Like, we got 4 weeks to go, but
well, beautiful job today. Congratulations on behalf of Wings of Strength and everybody at the IFBB Pro League. We can't wait to see you once again on the big stage in 4 weeks.
One more person to thank. Our title sponsor here at this show, Bikini Lab. So she designed the suit for me today. And
gorgeous.
I think she is, for a title sponsor at this show, her commitment to our sport has been just absolutely amazing. And she is a huge one to thank today. Been by athlete's sides from sun up to sundown. So thank you, Carissa. We appreciate you as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations once again.
Well, congratulations to the champ. I mean, she put in the time, she put in the work. I mean, it's tough to be the top in your game and to defend this title. I mean, it's also, as you know, the Rising Phoenix, not only, it's also a show where there's a lot of ladies. It's exclusively an all-ladies show. It's one of the few. I honestly say one of the only all-women shows. Now, there's some shows that will do all women, but then the pro it's a pro-am show where even the amateurs are nothing but ladies. When you do some pro-am shows, they have guys in the mix because it's amateurs, but this one is exclusively nothing but the ladies. No banana hammocks, no board shorts. It's nothing but with muscle, high heels, and the TNA divisions. So and here she is, as she looks great. I mean, look amazing. The other four ladies that came, like right here, the legendary Mrs. Michelle Brandt. She should got invited to the show 2 years ago when she said she made her announcement about 2023 to retire, but she came back, did Atlanta, did this show. Right here is Amanda Santos, and she's now qualified for the Olympia this year. Amazing young lady. If you look at her, I didn't realize how big she was. This picture alone, you look at her.
I'm really still impressed of how much mass she got built in such a young age. I'm seeing deja vu over again with Lavanya.
Yeah, and you also have here is Natalia.
Brazilian.
Yeah, Natalia. She's also Brazilian because Brazil is pretty good at
she came up. This is her proved performance since the 2023 Olympiad. She looks like she really took the time in. I think it was worth it.
Who are you talking about?
She took a break. I think she took a break from competing last year, and
Natalia.
Yeah,
Natalia. That was 2022 last time she competed.
I'm pretty sure it was 2023. I was there that day. I actually met her. She placed fourth.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. It was 2023. Oh yeah. Okay. Because that was the year. Oh yeah. Okay. Because that's the year that Hella had to drop out because of a shoulder. No. Yeah, she had to recover after 2022 because she had a shoulder injury early that year, and she decided not to compete in 2023. Yeah. Okay. You're right. I'm sorry, brother. Thank you for
It's okay. I just remembered it. That's all.
Yeah. I thought. And here we have Monica Vega. I have any of you, three of these ladies here, both Michelle, Amanda and Monica, and she came here because she wanted to do another show, but she last time she did was Chicago. She knows she couldn't be able to travel, but this show in the backyard, and we have here we have here Jake Wood, the man who did it. Yo Jake, I want that money. I want that gun. I can't help it. Time we have here Miss Linda Murray. She actually commented on one of my videos I posted on my IG and also my YouTube. Shout out to her. Some other guy here, and also Lena Popa. And Lena, some say she should have been Miss Olympia back in 2014 or 2013, maybe both. But she's also a Rising Phoenix champion. She won the title in 2018. And it's pretty impressive. I mean, shout out to the ladies. Also, it's again Sarah Creel, who now is going to her first Olympia in women's physique. And, impressive young lady, just in her, I would say, maybe late 20s, early 30s. And here we have the top six. Now only three get the money. Right here on my right, probably your left, that's Natalia Bastroli. The lady is 57 years old. And she did pretty good. She was in, I think, the top 15 at the Master Olympia. Last year, she did 3 shows here in the States. She did the Triple O, not the Triple O show, Triple O. She did like Ultima, Omaha, and Olympia. So you see that is Triple O. Tiffany Walker, who I also had a pleasure to interview on my channel. Miss Tiffany, she this was her second show for the year. Not only did she make top 3 Atlanta, but also she won her Master O qualification at that show. Next up is Jenny Feldman, who's been a multi-time Olympia. And I'm surprised she did this show because I thought she would take a break. She hadn't since last year's Tampa, and and I felt like she was going to just shut down this year. But then she popped up in this show. I saw on the list. And next up we have is the lovely Mrs. Tracy Guile. As you know, Tracy won her Masters Olympic qualification at this show. She was top 3 at the Masters Olympia this year. So, all the way from Australia. I mean, amazing lady, been on my channel. Love talking with her. She's great. And also last year's champion, Jody Munchuk. And, she took 6th place. One that kind of broke my heart a bit is Malika Jones. Marika, I was certain, I felt like she was going to, get it, but she didn't. Here we go. We have, and also we have Tracy. As you know, she won the 40 plus title along with Miss Bastrova, who I believe she took 2nd, and one Miss Dolly, who took 3rd. Very impressive ladies in their wonder years. I think both Natalia and Dolly are in their mid to late 50s. Can you believe that? Mid to late 50s, and these ladies look good. They look good. Like Brie Matt would say, like a bacon and egg sandwich. Yeah. We got here some comments here. Let me pull up the comments. Guys, we want to ask us questions. Says, this is my man KL. He says, I kind of understand why Andrea won. No doubt about it. Here from my man Josh Simpkins. He says, congratulations to Andrea Shaw for winning the tiara and the trophy. Yeah, congratulations. Also from my man Josh, he says, Amanda Santos is tall. Yeah, I didn't think she was that tall. Like, we didn't even know she was that tall. I thought maybe she's like, but like she might be around 5,
I'm
6
pretty tall myself. I'm kind of tall myself. I don't know how tall if I ever got to meet her, I would compare height. I don't know. I mean, I know I'm easily, well, I mean, no offense. I can tell who, I remember how, I think I was kind of taller than Chelsea when I met her. And I was like, was I always been this tall?
Yeah, well, I think Chelsea's got to be about 5'8", 5'9". I think she's about 5'10". You're almost 6 feet tall. I believe you are. Because I'm 5'7". Yeah, I'm shorter than you. Shout out to my man KL. He's always a hater. He says, you goofy with the Jake. Well, I want to do it again. Yo, Jake. I want that money. I want that gun. So,
I think to tell you the truth, I did went to the meet and greet. I actually did see Jake Wood, but I think it was, I think it was a bit awkward start because I was wearing a mask that time. There were so many people that day. He kind of understand I was talking about. I was new at the time, okay? But hey, the next time I see him, I'm sure it'll be a much better experience.
well, man, first time I saw him, he was at Savannah. He was sitting in the front because I was like next up there where the judges were at, and he was there because Savannah. That was a Linda Murray show. It was sponsored by Wings of Strength, and if I'm like this, if I ever meet that man up, I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to do it. I said, Mr. Wood, I was like, Mr. Wood, I want to tell you, I thank you for what you're doing and contribution to support of bodybuilding, and especially for the ladies. But you mind if I do this, sir? If you don't mind, I got to do it because if I don't do it, it's just gonna eat at my sister. Yo, Jake, yo, Jake, I want that money. I want that gun. I'm sorry, you're gonna be crazy. He probably might say like, "Oh, I knew you were gonna do it, son." When did you say yes, sir? I had to do it. I don't know a lot of brothers named Jake, but I had to do it. Had to do it. So anyway, discussion is about what be the future now after this show. Will women's bodybuilding, kind of come back? Will the ladies step up? Because this year, I think the big problem was that some ladies said they didn't know about the change. But here's, Andrea sent me something. Said she told me this. George, a lot of us didn't know about the change, and she said like really they should have put a memo out because not a lot of ladies on social media that much. Some ladies who I follow don't even have an IG. But some I know Tina, Williams, she said she don't be on social media that much. But I get that, But here's this: when wouldn't you say like you had a show like the Linda show, which is on every year? Why wasn't that many women for that show? You only had technically 4 women, and 3 women did the open part, and then you had Michelle Brent and also Holly Jordan and um, uh, Patty Hansen did the Masters part, and Patty's now qualified for the 2027 Masters Olympia. So that show, what was the same reason? Like, that shows every year. You know, yeah. I just again, I get what they mean because I think some ladies, most definitely some ladies told me the fact that they changed the prize money, that the incentives that there was part of the Rise of Phoenix was stripped away. Um, some ladies say they didn't know, but hey, bodybuilding is not like it's it's even though it's kind of getting worldwide, it's still a small community. There's still somebody like she heard about it from somebody else, so that means that somebody else knew about it and it passed down to somebody else. I think a little bit is more maybe a bit of boycotting the show a bit. Some of them, yeah, maybe the cost of travel and all that's going on. But there's a show coming up. As I said, excuse me, the Titan Grand Prix is coming up. And if, like I said, I'm gonna check real quick while I'm sitting here and talking with you. If the list, they just put out the list, and I'm seeing right now, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 women. I'm gonna
Hey,
pull it up
10.
here.
Wow, that's
10.
we didn't see that. I didn't see that coming. This is a
10.
surprise, honestly.
And they would know the show was coming out in September because you can't say that no one didn't know. You can't do that. You can say, well, no one didn't know. Like I said, shout out to Andrea. She's a great lady. We become good friends for a good while. I was hoping to have her on the other day. We did our commentary for the Rise of Phoenix, but she's busy. I was hoping to have her today because I need that perspective from a female bodybuilder. So I'm going to pull up who's on the list. 10 women.
Yeah, we
And
know
this is
Christina's
confirmed.
joining, but who else is on the roster?
Well, one lady told me she's going to do this show, and that is Amanda Santos. She says she's
Oh,
going to do the show.
she's doing Titan as well.
Yes, she's doing
Oh my
Titans.
God! Wow, this is going to be something for her. She just
She,
she's already qualified for the Olympia. Is this like her backup plan or something?
probably, if you look at the list, here's the list right
I
here.
can't.
Because
Like it's too far away. Can you zoom in a bit? I can't see the names.
let me see. Let me give me a second. Let me see if I can enlarge the picture a little bit. Let's see. Zoom. Wait. Zoom it out. Zoom it out. IQ. Wait a minute.
Okay, I'm
Let
starting
me.
to see. Oh, Patty, I see Roshana. Oh, Roshana's joining. Okay.
Sure, Shana Boswell, Doxana Dawson. We have not seen this since the last year, Rising Phoenix.
Patty
Ava,
again.
yeah, Ava Manillo.
Yeah, I remember her. Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was at the Olympia last. She was. Yeah, I hope she get approved this year.
She won. She won the Toronto Super Show last year.
She kind of
Esther
looks like
Rodriguez.
Ariana Grande. Yeah, she kind of looks like Ariana Grande. Am I the only one who knows the resemblance?
I'm not
I'm
okay.
just. It's just probably me.
Yeah, that's probably you. As you said again, Christina Mendoza, Esther Rodriguez,
Never heard of
Amanda,
her.
yeah, Amanda Santos, also Maria Monica Vega, because she lives in California, she's in her backyard. My dear friend, the lovely Miss Tina S. Williams, and
Yeah, she's fat.
also, yeah, and also the tiny tank herself, Marilyn Yee. We have 10 ladies here. But here's the thing like this. I would say if some of these 10 ladies had enough time to do this show, why couldn't you do the Rising Phoenix? I'm like I said again, this show was just a week from it, and maybe the cost of travel. I know some ladies, like I said, live different parts. I know Rashawn lives in Illinois. The Saka, I forgot where she lives. I think she lives in Texas. Patty actually lives on the West Coast. She lives in, I think around, I think Washington State, or is it? I forgot which way. What? Not Washington State. I think it's is it Montana or something? I think it's Montana. Now, Christine Mendoza, she lives in Nevada. She lives in Vegas. So you can't tell me you couldn't fly to that show. And I feel like if Christina had competed, I don't think Amanda would have got her qualification. I don't know much about Esther Rodriguez, where Monica. I know Tina. She told me she was doing the show anyway. And Marilyn Yee, like I said, she
I
lives in
think
San
I
Diego.
isn't she. I think she competed in Tampa last year, didn't she?
Yeah, she beat Tampa last year.
Yeah,
She
I
didn't do as
did.
well.
Yeah, I think I never got a chance to properly introduce. I think I did say hello to her, but I think it was just it was. I was new at the time, so hey, who knows? There's always next time if I ever get to meet her.
Yeah, she's a very interesting character. We always, but was a few months ago. We had her on. She didn't want to explain what show she's going to do, but I felt like she was going to do the show again because, like I said, it's in California in her backyard. I would have jumped on to the right thing. See how you done. It's a toy show. Christina, same thing with Christina. If, like I said, if Christina had competed at the Rising, there's a good chance that she could have got that qualification. And then I think some ladies would say they're like kind of hearing that the champs come, kind of like with Natalia when she do shows. Some ladies will either once you sign that contract, you can't unless it's like something if you're sick or or if you're sick you can't do the show, then you have to be obligated to the contract. But
Mm.
I think some ladies already knew that Andrea's do the show because she already said it about. She posted on social media at least I think a week before the show, and you have a deadline. I think some shows you have to the deadline is like that Sunday, and then once everybody takes the names in, they posted them. Here you go, Mike Cahill. He says, "What's wrong with you? Nothing wrong with
Well,
me.
who me? Who
No,
me?
he's talking to me. He's talking to me. There's nothing wrong with me. As I said again, I'm no ticket type of criminal. I just love anarchy and chaos. And I love dynamite and gasoline.
Mm.
I'm sorry, folks. He has to come out every now and then. But 10 women. And
Already proven. This is probably the best, the biggest outside the Olympia. This and the Masters. This has to be the most improved lineup we got so this by the end of this year. I mean, wow, that out of all the contests, it had to be this one. Wow.
mhm. Well, I think that's what it was. I think some ladies wanted to save their pockets. If I was most definitely Christina Mendoza, what? I would say this: some of the ladies could have done this, the Rising Phoenix. No, I don't know if they knew, but they should have known because you know, winter strength like this, they don't. I like like well, I was talking to sorry, excuse me. Okay, I actually clicked in my accident. I was talking to Andrea. You know, she said that they could have put a memo out. But here's the thing is, if you got to put a memo to every competitor in women's vitamin division, some of them, like I said again, are not too much on social media. You consider email, and that's why. And then sometimes some are just not too. They might be busy. Sometimes they might see it's like they might see it, but This is, if you go back to the Wiener Strength site where they did post that this was happening. There's enough time. I mean, this was told almost 2-3 months in advance, and you can't use excuse that you didn't know, because this was 2-3 months in advance. The thing is, I think a lot of ladies, quite a few, were either didn't like the idea that there were no incentives, that they didn't pay for the trip like they used to, that all the other prizes that were there, like best poser, most muscular, those little incentives, and also they weren't paying for their, because one day my man Keith told me this, because his wife been invited like half a dozen times. There was no per diem anymore, where you had to pay out of your pocket to get there. It was a regular show. And I think some ladies, the cost of traveling and all that is expense. If you're the few lucky ones who has a sponsor, then that's good. But generally, a good number of ladies are mostly paying out of the pocket. Like my man Keith said, sometimes you have to steal from Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we're ready to talk about it, because the minute you said sponsor, I had a feeling that we have to address the elephant in the room. If for those of you who haven't noticed what happened today,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Well,
ends
my
on
man,
what I don't know. I don't know if you know about. Just when you thought something was about one certain person that recently won the game, but then recently received the unexpected news that I gotta feel sad at the moment. And I
yeah,
think
I
we
think,
might have to talk. Should we talk about it now?
yeah, I'm gonna pull it up because his problem is it's Alcione Barito, and neither of us speaks Brazilian.
She speaks Portuguese. She's from Brazil. Another small
It's
world.
Brazilian. Technically, it's Brazilian because in Portuguese, Portuguese is like, I know a friend, she lives in Portugal. The Brazilian Portugal language, even though it's based on Portuguese, some pronouncements are different from the language. It's actually, because the area is Brazilian. Portuguese is Portuguese, you know. But there's some things that's similar, like the difference between Cuban and Mexican, even though they share, Spanish history, but because the area and environment, it's different tendencies. So I don't say Portuguese, I say Brazilian. That's their language. That's how they speak. It's different from, because if you talk to somebody, if you talk in Brazilian to somebody in Portuguese, you're gonna have some issues here and there. Like there's some words that are not the same in another language, even though they can't. Like you look at I think only countries that were kind of language are similar are like Germany and Austria. It's pretty much it's Deutsch. French and Belgium is Franc. Even Canada shares some language with the Franc, with the French. But then others, there are so many differences, especially in cadence and speaking. Even if you go to Africa, there's different tribes. They're all Africans, but different tribes have different cliques. Like same thing is with different Native American tribes. But my man, he told me about this. I'm going to pull it up for y'all. If y'all, I think what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna run the video and I'm gonna talk because I'm gonna read the translation. It makes better sense for me to read the translation and try to let her talk, because we won't understand what she's saying. So here we go. I'm gonna pull it up here, and we're here on her channel, and there she is. So like I said, I'm going to read the translation. Should be right here. It should be here. And she's talking. Oh, it says, unfortunately, this is reality. I am incredibly sad to have to talk about this happen today. And, she's talking about it, but the fact is,
eu tenho sido muito forte, porque eu sou muito grato a Deus por tudo, e quando Ele me dá uma oportunidade, eu não desisto, eu empenho, eu me dedico, eu dou o meu melhor, inclusive é a forma de gratidão que eu tenho para mostrar para meus amigos o quanto eu sou grata por eles, é mostrando o meu trabalho da melhor maneira possível. Só que eu vim aqui expor para você.
Well, we have here a gentleman called Drumstick, was it Mick Lifter, and he asked what's happening. So somebody who's might have explained it in English. Let's see. Oh, that's my dear friend Steph. She's a competitor. She says this. She says she's being sued by a company that left 3 years ago for a breach of contract. The company is asking for a fine of $200,000 Rios, even though her salary back then was only 100,000 Rios, and the travel and daily expenses that were in that contract were never paid by the company. Right now, Alcione doesn't have any sponsorship and has no way to pay that fine. She's managed to stay in the sport with the help of friends. On top of that, she's considered not going to the Mr. Olympia because she can't cover the cost of her own. Alcione is urgently needs a sponsor. Shit, she's in trouble. That is, and actually, truthfully, if people don't know this, I'm gonna tell you this. Even in Rios, that's not a lot of. That's I think actually it might be if you break it down if you break it down to American money, that's probably around about $20,000 American cash because the Rios is like about like about maybe 4 times less than American dollar. The American dollar is 5 times more. Like I had a friend of mine. She was an MMA fighter. She was working in Brazil, and she was a little you're short on cash. She was hungry. I said her $20. That $20 can turn to $200. We got here, my man. Shout out to my man KL, the Wonder coming through. Here
Hey,
she is.
thanks for
Yeah,
joining. Good timing to join us.
bang bang bang.
Going
Smoke
on?
gang, bang bang
Yeah,
bang.
we were
Yeah,
just talking about what's the most unexpected news. Even though she clearly, well, I mean, I'll say this was actually okay. First off, this was a big year for her because she won like won first in 3 shows in a row. That's impressive, but it came with a cost.
yeah. She's being sued by I think a company that she had some expenses with. It's shooting for like 200,000 Rias, and Rias in American money is like maybe around about $20,000. And she needs sponsorship because if she doesn't, she can't make the Olympia. Now the Olympia will cover your plane cost, and but she still needs the cost for like when she gets there, for place to stay, for Uber. Like right now we're doing, as you know, there's a GoFundMe for Tiana Flex for her to do this year's Olympia because she doesn't want because she's going to be the first female bodybuilder to come from South Africa. She don't want to miss that opportunity.
Why does she owe that money though? What Alcione? Why does she owe that money? How much?
I think if I go back and we have somebody kind of translate it for because my friend Steph, she asked because she was curious. So Steph asked, he says, she's being sued by a company that she left 3 years ago for breach of contract. The company is asking for a fine of 200,000 uh, rias, even though her salary back then was only 1,000 rias, which is like probably in American dollars, maybe $100, less than that. And then the travel and daily expenses that were in the contract were never paid by the company. Right now, Alcione doesn't have any sponsorship, so no way to pay the fine. She's managed to stay in the sport with the help of friends. So I would, if I could, I would love to. I don't have $20,000. That's something that probably would cover it. 20,000 US. You send it over there, that should cover her fine. But then is, if she had get a good lawyer and told her because they didn't pay her, her worth is, because whatever contract she had with that company. That's the thing is, people, when you get with a company, especially who sponsors you, read even the small print. If you gotta pull out a microphone and go like, because sometimes there's some shit you don't see. And always when you're doing contracts, I know it's expense, but get a lawyer. I mean, it's get a lawyer. Most definitely you need a lawyer, because especially if someone deals in contracts, because Sometimes they put things in there that a lot of people don't understand. This is part of the third part, there's a third part, the other part, blah, blah, and then you don't understand it, and you say, okay, I just signed. But then somebody say, oh, wait, what's this here? Okay, nah. Okay, we take it that. Okay, okay, and you're guaranteed that you can give her 1,000 Rios for her as being a brand ambassador. If not, if you don't follow these contracts, we can sue you back for not upholding your part of the contract. Um, Here, this is for my man. Shout out to my man, Shot Circus. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first time this year that women's bodybuilding division hit double digits.
Well, for a
Yes.
regular contest, yes. For the Olympia Masters, that was always been the plan from the start. So
Yeah. And like I said, some ladies, like I said again, who are competing in the show. Rashada Boswell, who used to do the Rising Phoenix, but most times she got invited. I'm surprised she's doing this show instead of doing Rising.
do you think
Um,
she's? How do you think she might do? Do you think she? Do you mind she might make it, or maybe at least into the top? I don't know. Where do you think she might make it into after what she did
well,
at Japan?
well, I'm like I said, some of the ladies have seen look very impressive. As you know, there was a while back, Christina Mendoza posted some stuff, and she was really good. I mean, especially after Chicago, she was not as in condition as she was. Uh, was it this morning? I saw something from Patty Hansen, and she posted it on her IG. And it's just a basic for you guys. I know you guys will love to see this. I posted it and I tagged her. She responded, and it's a little picture of Patty Hansen, and she said, "This is
Oh, she
copy."
respond. Oh, she responds to you, and not something that I did some time ago for Atlanta. Is she? It's like I remember she reached out to me when I first. And is she a busy lady now? Is she very busy now?
Well, I know we tried to set for an interview, but I know she has kids. I think her husband, he works.
And I
Uh,
never said anything wrong to her. I remembered I wrote a nice message to her and she responded, and I just never. I remember tagging her, yet she never acknowledged it. Like it's almost like I did something wrong or something.
well,
Yeah, sometimes you
sometimes,
got paid on no mind, man. They just
yeah.
listen up. They busy and probably got other things going on, and that's how
Okay,
Hmm.
they.
so it's not me. I'm just
No,
guys, you guys know I mean well, right?
Yeah,
I
you do,
mean,
you do.
if you stress it, it's gonna be you, but just you just gotta leave it alone. I mean, because sometimes even when I reach out to them, and it could be annoying too, because some of them they do see it, and you be like, you don't know what to think. So it's like if they reach out to you, they reach out to you, not just yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, sometimes if I approach you and we have like I just this week I just picked up a couple of interviews, and we try to keep in contact. Other times I reach out to they say just do an interview. I try, hey, I might come back a few days later, say, hey, we still on. Say if you're not, then I'm just gonna move on. But if they're ones who genuinely want to and keep in contact, they'll send you a message to let you know. Sometimes it's just how it is. As you know, Ava here, and this is from she was at the World Championships, the North American weekend. Here she is. That's Mr. Dave Palumbo, Jumbo Palumbo. A couple of his clients competed at that show over last month, and Ava looks really good. I mean, look at her quads. I mean, she's only in her, I think, her late 20s, and she don't post a lot on social media too
Yeah,
much. She's
I
kind of
know. Yeah.
yeah, she won her Olympic qualification back in 2024 at the Toronto Super Show. you know, um, she didn't do as well at the Olympia. I believe she was maybe either above or I think she was either above or below. I think she was under Alcione. I'm trying to remember above or below because Alcione dropped down too. Because you remember the year before Alcione was in top three, and she dropped all the way down to 14 and 15. I think that's where Ava was. So this is gonna be a first show for the season. I mean, precious young
Is
lady,
she
good
a pro?
size. Hmm?
Is she a pro or
She's a
what's she?
pro. She's a pro. She's been to Olympia.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Okay.
say she. Yeah, I said she's been to Olympia. So that means if you go to Olympia, you're a pro.
Now my
Unless
mind
you
drifted off while you was talking. I ain't mean to.
stay awake. Drink some coffee. and
I was drinking mine this morning.
And also, I said Christina Mendoza. Christina, I mean, she looks impressive from some I've seen on her on social media. And she knew as well in Chicago. She won Chicago a couple years ago. You know, this is I think this is when she made an announcement here that she was going to do 16 days out and she was going to do the Titans here. Her back, her one thing is her glutes are just crazy. Her condition is pretty good. She's kind of one like Kiefer says she's kind of inconsistent, but when she got herself together, like when she was at Tampa last year, she looks great. She looks great. She was kind of this is like this is from you remember this is from Tampa. She
Yeah, I
looked
was
pretty
there
good.
that I was there in the audience today. I remember Joey being the loudest. He was so loud, but it shows he's really enthusiastic to support because well, for all you out there, she's taken, so don't get any ideas.
Yeah, Joey, that's her husband. Yeah, I many times Keith told me like especially when she did the Rising back in 2023, how he was like hollering hooting. I mean, that's good. That's good. I mean, but sometimes dude, you need to pull it back
He's
a
a really
little.
nice guy, Tyler.
And
Actually did I remember speaking to him actually, before the finals. He's a really nice guy.
yeah, I think some people really want to see her make Olympia because she has a great look to her, great physique, very feminine. You know, this is the thing is that's the thing they want to push the women who have that great muscle and femininity combination. And I can't lie, Christina's a very attractive lady. I mean, will she ever become Miss Olympia? No. I mean, as long as you have
Why you
people,
say that? Why you
as
say that?
long as long as you have Andrea, Angela, and someone like Ashley, it'll be difficult to get past them because, like I said, again, she's kind of inconsistent.
Oh,
She's not as steady. And if you're not as steady and if you're not active and steady, because she hadn't competed. She after was it 2023, she dropped out of Olympia when she got qualification. Then she came back, with the Olympia, and then she kind of faltered a bit at the Chicago Pro because Melissa Tite came in and won the title. Um, with Shauna Boswell, I've had the pleasure of meeting with Shauna during my time. She was down here in North Carolina. It was a seminar that my man Glenn from the Amazon Fitness magazine did. We didn't have a lot of ladies, but it was nice. It was a nice get together. Um, we talked. I even brought her a little package I fixed for her. She told me that her son Lucas loves the toothbrush, but she's a good lady. I think she didn't do as well like she wanted to at the because she won the show back in 2023. One thing about Rashana is she has great shape, but she needs to work on her conditioning in the back, especially in the glutes. She can come a little soft. If she just you really want that nice grainy, you want a nice styration in the glutes, you want the good connections in the adductors and in the hamstrings. You don't want to be too soft. Maybe the trip to Japan might have affected her, but that's always been her issue. I mean, I remember when she competed in Chicago back in 2020, and she lost to Teresa Vasa because Teresa Vasa has a better back. You know, but I think she's a great lady. She's has come a long way. Loving mother, wife, beautiful physique. I can't lie. A lot of tattoos. Not a big fan of the tattoos, but she does have a beautiful physique.
Yeah, that's always been a challenge for me every time I draw some of these ladies. It's their tattoos. Like I actually am drawing. I am planning to draw Alcyone next, and I'm looking for all these reference photos, and I am really surprised how much tattoo she has. And I mean, one of them has Rosie the Ripper on one of her biceps, and the arms look like a flower on the others on her underarm. I think there's something like a dragon near her abdominal muscles. Like, you should really check them. Like, I do the best I can. I try to make them simple. And I mean, it was hard for me when I drew Mark, when I drew him, and I kind of got, but I was surprised when he managed to draw what I drew on Chelsea, like that little strength excels negativity on on one arm, and looks like a dragon or a raven on the other arm. It's crazy the
you draw
detail
when
there.
you draw would you draw that like a Photoshop or Flash?
I draw. I have Toon Boom. It's a software where cartoonists likes
Oh,
to where they
yeah,
do
I heard of
animation.
that one. I heard of that. Yeah,
The posters. As for the posters, definitely Photoshop. I actually when I do the posters, it's definitely Photoshop.
No, okay.
Well, also, as you know, I got to give a shout out to Amanda Santos. She dropped this picture. She's a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful young
Oh
girl. I
yeah,
think she.
she's pretty cute, but definitely a still impressive, well built young lady. And now she's not only in her program, made for plays, going for the Olympia, and now she's competing to Titan as well. I think this was just her backup plan, just in case she wasn't going to make it.
Well, but she, as you know, when she signed that contract, she can't back out, so she's going to there to compete. And I think this has been her pro debut. I mean, look at her. She's just a little bit taller. You can see how much taller she is compared to Andrea. I think maybe just an inch or so more. One thing I think is that she needs a little more width in her lats. She just needs a conditioning, something she need to work on. I mean, if her, only that's the one thing I think that Natalia beat her in was her condition is just a little better, and Natalia is really a little bit more thicker, especially around the back and the shoulders. You can really see, especially when you do this. But we all know Andrea is she's the fifth element. She's perfect. Mm. But I think she has the way to go. I mean, she's very impressive. This is to do the final pose down. She's doing the most muscular. Let's go the
Yeah, I know we
lovely Miss
talked about
Michelle
that.
Rich.
Yeah, and Michelle, showing the champ how we do it old school. I originally I originally made a message to Michelle. She responded positively about what about the commentary we did. Really, I think she's a very sweet lady.
Yeah, she is. She's a great lady. A legend. One of the few ladies who's been competing exclusively in women's bodybuilding ever since she turned pro. Not a lot of ladies that can say that, other than Hella Trevino. There's Patty Corbett. I think Virginia Sanchez and a couple others. Not a lot of
Yeah,
ladies who have been.
Patty Caborda didn't make it the top. I actually reached out to her at one point. She said she got sick, which kind of explains a lot. But she wasn't too discouraged by how she was ranked. So
Yeah. Well, you got to remember, she's
that's
she's nearly 70 years old, and you're competing with some women who are maybe 20, 30 years younger than you. And that could be tough. I know some ladies will just exclusively do masters because they want to compete with the girls most younger than them. But there's some ladies who look impressive, and they look good. So again, here is Amanda. I'm just proud of her. Actually, reached out. We try to do something maybe later on, maybe before she goes to the Olympia. And she gives an update what's going on with her and what's her future plans now after Olympia. Because there's a new show coming up the month after Olympia, which is the Steve Carr show. And it's going to be the first, I would say, it's going to be the same weekend as the Romanian Muscle Fest. But, it's going to
yeah.
be a show.
I forgot that's happening too. Man, it's sometimes hard to keep up nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah. Here, got this from man, Josh Simkins. He said this. He says, Christina Mendoza really improved since Chicago. She been putting in the work. She has, because
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
yeah. But back to this now. With this was, like I said again, very low numbers, and like some ladies saying, well, like again, we have at least 10 women, so that means there could have been, we already had like two ladies who already competed in the Rising previously, Monica and Amanda. So you tell me maybe three or four more women. I know with Tina, she wouldn't probably want to do it because she's focused on. I remember we were talking with her. She was focused on the show, The Titan. I would say Rashada Boswell. I would say Christina Mendoza, Patty Hansen. I mean, at least a couple more could have done the show too. Just see how they do, how they look. Maybe they need, like, one thing. Sometimes some ladies do a show to get the judges' feedback, and maybe they wait maybe another show a few weeks down the road after they make the adjustments. But this show is close. This is one of the very last qualifications for this year's Olympia. Any other show after that is for 2027.
Fair. Yep. Fair enough. Yeah.
Hmm. So, and it's just something that I would say like this. People out there, if you are a fan of the sport and you want to, if these women are genuinely interested, reach out to the promoters. If you have the wing, I often say this: if you have the ways and the means to assist, if you have the connections, if you have deep pockets, if you can buy a brand new Bugatti, you know, and you're a fan of women's bodybuilding, hey, you can get yourself a discount Bugatti. You can take a few $1,000s. If you feel like this show needs, reach out to, as you know, the promoters, Alex Casa. And Alex works for Wings of Strength. I was talking with somebody, as you know, it used to be the Wings of Strength Rise Arizona Pro. And that was for all the other divisions. I was talking with a friend of mine. I said like this, you know what, women's bodybuilding still needs because we're not certain if any show is going to have it next year, because with such a low numbers, these promoters they want to turn out. I remember last year the St. Louis Pro, they dropped after that only had 5 ladies. The guy who promoted that show dropped women's physique. He added wellness for this year. And he told the ladies, "Hey, if none of you show up for the Omaha Pro, because he also promotes Omaha Pro, I'm going to drop Omaha." And we had at least, I think, that last year was like about 15 women did that show. And then, like my friend Andrea said, Andrea said, like, maybe know about the new changes, but there was only, like, again, 4 women at the Linda show. So the show is coming up. It's on the list. It's not like you get a lot of. I don't think Linda's do a census like the Rise Phoenix do. So is it because you don't like the fact that all your little centers were part of the show was stripped away? The prize money has dropped down. I know a couple ladies, they talk to me and say, "Hey George, I'm just they don't like the idea that they're not getting the $50,000 they used to," and and all the other stuff that you like, best poser, most muscular. But the champ, she came back. She didn't have to do it. It could have been 4 ladies. And then I would say like this. I would say Natalia get the qualification, Amanda get this qualification, and I would say honestly Monica get the qualification. But the champ came because she won her title. And again, I know some ladies say they're not on social media that much, but somebody would have told you. You would have heard it. I mean, I told some ladies about it. When you tell somebody, usually, hey, you heard that they're not going to do invitations for the Rise of Phoenix. It's an open show. Say, what? You heard it? Say, yeah, yeah. All you got to do is go to the Wingsmith IG or the website. They'll tell you. That's, like I said, bodybuilding, even though it's kind of big, it's still a small community. So this is about a Pacific division. So you're telling me that you're not paying attention? It's again, one of my things is be aware of surroundings at all time, your masters. They will give you a footing for a killing blow. And that thing is, this is your sport. When you hear a new show like my man David, he just did an interview with Austin Carr. The C Carr show is named after his father. And he announced that they're going to have women's bodybuilding. And it's already, I think, about a good maybe double digits for this show too, because you're gonna have a lot of ladies just did the Olympia jumping on this show, and those ladies who are not either Angela, Andrea, or maybe depending if Ashley still keeps the 3rd spot, whoever keeps the 3rd spot, then those ladies are going to probably try to jump on that show to try to get that qualification. So to worry about doing, maybe just waiting, just doing other shows like maybe Triple O or something later on.
Yeah.
We got here. This is my man here. Oh, Laura, man. Stop by Laura. Said, "Hello, friend George and friends. Nice to see you." Laura is from
Yeah.
Canada. He does
Nice to see you
content.
too. Hey.
Yeah,
So
he's
sorry, I didn't mean to sound trivial. Do they
yeah.
still say
Yeah, you can say
you
nice to
can't?
see you.
You
No
mean
more
nice,
about
nice to meet, nice to meet. You mean nice to meet you, or good to
yeah.
see
Nice to
you?
meet you. That's might see me. He can't see us. We can't see him, but he can't see us. So that's all right. So you get it. But I don't know. It sound to me personally sound a lot of lame duck excuses. I mean, this show's been around for a long time. It has changed because Jake has to be competitive now. He has the Arnold over his shoulder. Arnold's one of the biggest shows, but here's the thing about Arnold: it does not cover all the divisions. It's only the banana hammocks and boy shorts divisions, the TNA divisions, and you just got fitness. And there's a possibility that fitness may not have. Well, if we haven't heard it about it the end of this year. We, because you just already putting out the invitations for to compete at the Arnold Amateur show, which is the amateur pro qualifier. That's part of the Arnold Sprinter Classic. He's already putting out the list for that, the invitation for that show. But if he has not announced it by the end of this year, possibly fitness get pushed out because Fitmall's coming, and
Yeah.
and I
I have no disrespect. I absolutely no disrespect to him. I understand you want to create variety. That's fine. I'm okay with that. It's just don't make it too much. Don't take too much focus away from the art divisions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that. That's a big concern. I think some ladies who told me that they feel like I remember with Trish did an interview with my man Jeremy. Excuse me, on his female muscle fan podcast. How he said it's a basic bitch division. Like anybody who's a gym buddy who just do cardio, you just mostly teenagers on the beach, just pop on a posing suit. Some of the ladies train because I did interview a couple of them, but a couple of ladies they rather be in bikini. But this is like a way for them to try to maybe get their pro card. It's just like I said, the opportunity's there. If you can get in there and boom, it's there's no crossover as an amateur because you can't. Like one thing we do amateur shows, you can double dip. You can do maybe three or more divisions. Some ladies would do figure and bikini. Some ladies would do figure and physique. Somebody would do physique with bodybuilding. I've interviewed a lady who did figure and wellness. She had a pro card figure, but not in wellness. But with this division, you can't cross that line. You have to be exclusively in that division. So that means that if you want to get your pro card, that's the only place you get your pro card in. But then once you turn your pro, you can do whatever you want. You can stick with Fit Model, or you say, you know what? Let me go up and do bikini. I know some ladies who have interviewed who get their pro card as physique competitors, but they switched over to women's bodybuilding. Same thing when we do get pro card figure competitors. They switched to women's physique. It's just a gateway to get you there. And if you're going to stick with the division, that's good. It's the division you work on. A couple of ladies who I saw at that show at the Rising Phoenix, I feel like they might need to switch. Maybe just me, because way they're pushing the criteria of the division. It's kind of getting away from the original plan that it was. It's supposed to have been more smaller, petite, more athletic built. But then, if you look at the women now, if you look at people like we talked about this before, Rachel Daniels, and I'm gonna pull this up.
I had a feeling you were gonna bring her up again. You always bring her up.
It's this woman. Like I said, we both seen her. Me and you
Yeah, we
both.
both saw her in person. Yeah, we did in Tampa. Yeah.
And it's and this is, and I don't know if KL saw this picture. This is from when she was at Pittsburgh. This was this year. And if you look at this is where for one thing that could probably save women's bodybuilding if these ladies from women's physique move up. If they decide to move up. And this is a picture here. This is Rachel. And this, on the other side of her,
the Lois Lane chick.
Yeah, real Lois Lane. On the side of her, that's Natalie Way Wolf, and right there in the corner is Natalia. She's doing the most muscular pose. And if a lot of the physique competitors don't do it. They rarely ever do it, even in the final pose down. If you look at Rachel really good, and you say to yourself, is this physique or women's bodybuilding? Her, especially if you look at her quads, look at her shoulders, look at her whole physical presentation. It is not honestly, it's not the standard of what women's physique is. Even here, her just doing some basic posing. Her quads are bigger than some ladies in women bodybuilding. I mean, her back is much wider. Her lats, she took some time off, because she was doing some stuff. She got divorced. She was tired by a dog, and then she decided to come back.
Yeah.
And if you just this picture here, this is screaming to me. If she kind of looks like I would say almost like a mini Angela Yo, just a little bit, especially the tats and the hair, the style. I mean, she's a little bit more, I would say, funky, because she's more into hip hop and just more into the golf side of it. But if you look at her, you know, she is closer to. This is one thing that probably could save women's bodybuilding if more of the physique competitors decide to move up. I just had an interview with a lady who does figure. She competed in North Americans, and the judges told her we need you to be more bigger, a lot fuller. But it's why should she be bigger and fuller?
Does
She
she
need to
want
be
to do
more.
bodybuilding?
Hmm?
Does she want to do bodybuilding? Lois Lane?
Well, probably not. That's the thing
Um,
is. But one thing is if the judges do this, like some ladies, if they get penalized more, because in the same show, there's one chick, Brigitte, and she's from Austria, and if you see her density is that. This is supposed to be women's physique,
yeah,
honestly.
that's women's physique.
She's supposed to be women's physique, honestly. Look, I mean, her lats, her arms, her quads. This is, I mean, she won a qualification at Imperial this summer. And, the same show that Martina um, Lopez won in women's bodybuilding. But she's doing women's physique. And
She doesn't want to
her,
do bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding.
probably not. That's the excuse a lot of ladies like. She's doing a front lat spread. That is exclusively only division sport. Like Jeanine tells me, she don't like when any of the girls are doing the poses that they do. That's a front lat spread. You ain't supposed to
So,
do it
but they
in,
but they don't want to do women's bodybuilding.
but they don't want to do women's bodybuilding. But you're doing poses similar, and then your size. But the problem is the judges. They're rewarding these women that are, like, or technically supposed to look closer to the division that we're trying to get away from. Physique was supposed to be an alternative for women's bodybuilding. It was brought in. But now, because so many ladies, as I said before, who went down from women's bodybuilding to physique, it affected the look of the division along the way. You know, he's just talking, and I think even, I think I heard sometimes, I heard that Sylvia Body Channel said that she should move over. I believe heard a couple of times because they said in some interviews. Um, it's just, but they're always going to use the excuse because they feel like I don't belong there, I wouldn't fit, yada yada yada. But if you do move up, what's going to happen is, I know it's a cost. It's going to cost you a little more to get in the condition and get in shape because it's more of a expense. But some of these physique girls are they not too far from some of the women bodybuilders. I mean, this like this. If some of these ladies move up, like just like I said, at the Rising for women's physique, they had a little over 20 women, and I would say maybe two or three out of that 20 could have done the women's bodybuilding division. But the thing is, they're going to use that excuse because it takes more time to put on the size. Yeah, it does because you have to be compared to women's physique. You'll be as conditioned. It's more about you have those. You have to be more full roundness in your shoulders and your arms. You have to have more size in your quads, more muscle density compared to
Well,
physique.
what about
Yeah, we know some. Yeah, we know a few athletes that went through that transition, and I think some thing actually. I think this is an easy example of Michaela Yaycock. I think she made the smart choice of going from physique to bodybuilding. I think because she listened to the judges, and I think that was the best decision she made, and it might. She made a great. She made the most out of what she did till what she's doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Everybody say, Kim?
what
Hmm?
can I say something, please,
Go
before
ahead.
anybody starts cutting in?
Mary
like
says something
your
wrong.
homegirl, she was saying what's that girl name? She's from Michigan. She's a wellness competitor. She was Jada. She was a bodybuilder. Then she was
Don
a physique
Allison.
competitor.
Don Allison.
No. But
Jada Beverly.
let me get to my point before y'all start cutting me off. I'm saying I'm trying to say that maybe they don't want to get too big because they feel a certain way. They can't move right. Because I remember one of them had shared that they felt that they had all that weight and they just had to kind of like size it down. If I'm explaining that right.
Yeah.
I
But the thing
remember
is this.
Jake had explained that. Maybe
Yeah.
that's how these women feel.
Yeah, I understand that. But then again, some of these ladies they train just as heavy as some female bodybuilders. Some of them put on size just about as much as you. Like I said again, you look at Rachel. You go back to Rachel how she first started when she came pro. It's about the evolution. If they know, and then the thing is also the judges. The judges are, I would say, the big problem because they would tell if the criteria is supposed to be a certain way, a certain look, more athletically, more lean, stick to that criteria. But when you're telling even women in figure, we need you to be bigger, we need to be fuller, and they're gonna train like that. And you can say like, oh, I'm not trying to be, but you're training. You're just not that. It's just like this, like how the other guy was saying. It's just you just take a little push. You know, that's all it is. You're not too far. You may be no more than 5 or 6 pounds. And I think one lady talk about let's go back to weight classes because this was posted. I don't know if it's still up there. It was in her stories. It was posted by Blanca Rodriguez, and I think I shared it with some people, and they say, yeah, it's right. But I think it was like she posted her stories, but it's probably already gone. And Blanca said that it should be some weight classes. It should go back to, especially in physique, because she did the rising, and she looked people quite some time. She was at one point she was double dipping 1 year. She was doing both physique and figure, but the thing is, they're not going to do that. They're not going to because they did it years ago. If you any of y'all remember back in the early 2000s, when women's bodybuilding almost wasn't going to be at the Olympia because 1 year they had it like at a at a hotel conventions place convention center because they want to have it, and then the next year say, well, let's put in some weight classes. And that was the year when you had two Miss Olympias, Andrew Bachette and Valentina Shabagan, you know, and then they did it for the first 2 or 3 years after that, but then they went back to just competing head to head. You know, could they do it? But then some people say the cost of it, because what you got to do is you're going to have to. They already weigh the competitors when it comes to the show. Check your weight, do your height, stuff like that. They do it also in the amateurs because that's one thing how amateurs do it. They separate when you have the weight classes, or with the men's bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding, they do weight classes. Everybody else goes by alphabet A, B, C, D. You know, and you're certain if you're I think if you're like somewhere down like C or B or something like that, it's about your height more or less than your weight. You know, but the thing is that when they go back to it, and you got to think about it, you have to if you do it at the Olympia, that means you have to take competitors from different weight classes, and you have to at the end you're going to have maybe it probably save time where you don't have to have many competitors. Whoever wins in their weight class has to go head to head with the person in the weight class. You got to think about it. If someone like Andrea is like 170 on stage, and then she's up against someone like Ashley, maybe 140 on stage, most judges will go with the bigger competitors. I know one lady who won her pro card as a lightweight, that is Sue Price. She said that. She mentioned I was talking with a friend, and yeah, she said that she wanted, as a lightweight. Most of the time in the amateurs, when they do overall, and it was, with some shows where you can still get your pro card, you just do the overall, get the title. Back in the day, you compete in the overall to get your pro card. Now they're putting out pro cards like candy. You know, But Blanca, as you said, I was trying to find it, it was already gone. But Blanca, she didn't do as well. I think she kind of, next to bottom out at the Rising. I interviewed her a while back. She actually moved to Vegas. She did a couple of shows this year, counting the Rising, and she did Texas Pro. You know, she has a pretty physique. She looks good. You know, some say I don't know, would she do it? She possibly could do women's bodybuilding.
Hmm. Maybe, possibly, it's up to her and on the feedback from the
Yeah,
judges.
yeah. I think a lot of these competitors they do go when they get the feedback from the judges. Some competitors say they don't listen to feedback from the judges, and that's cool. But generally, the majority of these competitors they go to judge like if you depending on who the judge is. If it's Tyler Mannion, if it's Steve Weinberger, if it's Sandy Williamson, if it's any of the guys who are in the top of the IFBB who are promoters who also do judging, they want that feedback. And Tyler, one thing, Tyler, he still is my mindset. He's still wet behind the ears and breath like smell like Similac. I don't. We all know why because who his grandfather and his father is. He does. I don't know how he's a judge. You don't have the experience compared to some of these other people, and you're a head judge. It's crazy in my mind. But Blanca's a nice physique. I think she kind of fits the criteria wins physique. But as some of these ladies grow and evolve and change, it's just you have to realize, either you have a choice, either step up or step back. You either have to, if you feel like you are too big for women's physique, you have to step up to women's bodybuilding. But if you feel like you are not there yet, then you have to change your training methods. Try to not put as much size, but still bring in conditioning. Like we look at someone like Sarah Vilgas, she kind of changed the aspects of women. When she became champion, she changed the look of the division. This is a video of her. She's often posted stuff. Look at her physique. Now, this is, I would say, one thing she does has is not as much size, but her conditioning. I think her conditioning has been propelling her for a long time. But so is chasing after that conditioning. It also affects their look, their size, because they want that conditioning. But Sarah, she's a good sized woman because I think she's kind of tall. If you look at her right now, her condition, look at her quads. You know, condition is really good. I mean, she's always on point. She's the standard of women's physique. Right here we have Brittany Herrera. She has a great look to her. She just, that's Lexi who competed at the also she competed at the Rising. She's still young. I think she needs more time to grow and develop. That's Taylor Aragi. Taylor did women's physique. Actually, she was doing wellness, competing women's bodybuilding. Got a pro card women's bodybuilding. They went bodybuilding for a couple of shows, and now she's doing physique. Look at Paula Ranta, who was figure, and I got to see her, got to talk to her. Actually, she reached out to me after the prejudging to find out about a competitor how she did. And you got to think about Paula is just 25 years old. I mean, she still is growing. Here goes we got here Blanca. This was this. This one lady, her name is Christina Porter. She's a little bit of the older side, and her body's not going to go as far as it is now. Some ladies who are much older will eventually go over to women's bodybuilding because, like, I did an interview a while back with Erin Hawkins. She did women's physique. She went over to women's bodybuilding because it fits the aesthetic. Because she's never going to be as conditioned as the girls in physique. That's Brooke Piggin, who also competed at Rising. She's kind of tall. Right now, Sarah's wearing high heels. This is her. This is Sarah wearing high heels. This woman's tall. She gotta be at least Sarah's in high heels. She gotta be at least about 5'8". And I think women who are taller, it's hard to get that conditioning. And this is later interview just Uribe, just she was in top 4 at this show in Texas, and she's very impressive. There's Salika. Salika, I was kind of disappointed. I was certain she was going to win this show, but I think her conditioning was a bit off. This was her 6th show. She did 5 shows this year. She did. She wanted to do Vancouver, but she couldn't do it because she couldn't get the ticket to get to the Van Isle. She did Altima and she did Omaha. She did Chicago. She did Tupelo, and then she actually just within 5-6 hours later she goes and drive all the way to Texas. I call her the Iron Woman, and she didn't do as good at this show. I was surprised we got here Taylor again. It's Lexus. Uh, I forget this lady's name. She's also the older brand. This is another up and coming competitor. I think she's from Great Britain. Yes, Brooke. Let's go. See, these women you see now could be the next generations for women's physique. Some of them, like I said, again, Paula's still young. She still has time to grow. She's going to make her first Olympia this year. But some of the others, the for women's physique, the deadline has closed. It's you own, like I said again, you have to wait till next year.
Yeah, she needs time to grow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's the thing about bodybuilding. It's about evolution of every athlete. As you grow, you progress, and again, I get the point why they don't want to go to women's bodybuilding. But again, when you are at the point where you're so close to the division, I'm seeing women in figure who can probably do physique. All you gotta do is kick off the high heels and put on a little more size in your quads and your lower legs. Some ladies got some guns and upper bodies almost like physique competitors. I mean, it's like, again, understand this sport is about how far you want to go. Some ladies know they're never going to be never go to the Olympia, so they just just kind of just do what they do as much as they can do with what they got. I'm seeing competitors who have that potential. I'm gonna pull this one wicked. This is one lady I follow also on social media. She's a young competitor also herself. Lena Ramsteiner. Lena is from Germany, and she does figure. She's already qualified for this year's Olympia. And sometimes she has a little fun. And she posted this. She's doing a little posing. And if you look at her, even though she's figure,
Looks like a
she has
bodybuilding
potential.
pose. Oh, sorry, physique.
No,
Sorry. Yeah, a mix between different
closer
divisions.
to closer to physique than women's bodybuilding, I would say. But she said this. She says, "I'm not switching to WPD, but I really love the experience posing with Julia Schreiber. Julia is a physique competitor this weekend, and just wanted to share with you beautiful and feminine muscle can look like on the female body. A whole YouTube video coming soon. What do you think about it?" And if you look at her, she's young. She has that potential. I know she likes to stay in figure because, hey, figure has got her a couple Olympic qualifications. But if she kicks off the high heels, put us in training, she can do women's physique. And the lady she mentioned that she's working with, she's also another German competitor. She competed last year. She did a couple of shows. Actually, she did her first show after getting her pro card, and that's Julia. And this is Julia right here. And she was last year at the New York Pro. And she looks like the aesthetics of women's physique. Not too big, not a lot of size in the lats, good conditioning. Look at the back and the glutes. That's pretty good. This is, I would say, honestly, the aesthetics of women's physique.
Was she figure? No, she's not figure.
She was figure when she turned
Okay.
pro, but
Okay.
she switched to women's physique.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why I say some of these women, they look like more of the aesthetic of the division, but you're getting women now who are looking more like the division above them. You're getting figure competitors who look like physique competitors, and you get physique competitors who look like women bodybuilders. and for all of these divisions to grow, they have to either make a choice. Either you can stay where you at, but then here's the thing is, if you compete in that division and you get to next to the bottom, because either you're not improving on your conditioning, or you're too big for the division where you don't really belong in that division. So the judges will penalize some women for that. If you don't, you're like your condition don't come as good as like you're supposed to for for the criteria, then yeah, you're not gonna place as well. Just saw a lady who competed at the show. She made a pro debut at the Europa show, and to me, she didn't look as good compared to some of the ladies who were in the bottom rung below her. Her conditioning was, she had good size in her quads, but her conditioning was as tight. She did not fit the criteria of WPD, and she still got seventh place. Where I saw a woman who should have gotten a little higher get 11 or 12. And like I said again, it's just, it's a lot of what's going on in this world and whatever. Yeah. Here we get here from a man, Josh. Since good shot to Josh, he says this. He says, Lena Ramsteiner would do well in women's physique. I think she would. I think she would. She's young. She has just got to put in just a little more size, but not too much size. Bring condition her glutes, get those good connections in the hamstrings, and just her back looks really good because figure girls, they do a lot of workout with their backs. And this one lady, she said like this, I'm not going to have the small waist, but what I'm going to do is work on my back, make my back look bigger so it makes my waist look smaller. A little illusions and tricks you can do. So, gentlemen, as you know, this is an interesting conversation. I think I was hoping and wish we had more people to come on and give their point of view, especially competitors. I posed to say, hey, I know some of you ladies are busy, got this and that, but hey, you can take about 30, 40 minutes out of your time. Let us know because this is about your sport. And then when you complain about, well, we're not getting opportunities, like this year, Physique lost 3 shows, and Figure lost a couple of shows. And then they complain about that, but voice your opinion. But the problem is, too many people and too many ladies are afraid of, backlash. They feel like one lady, she told me that she didn't want to talk because she felt like you're getting blackballed. That's the thing about it. But then if you're frustrated, like my mom used to tell me this, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. If you feel like
I know this is a topic you want to cover, but it's like if they don't care, man, like what I'm saying, why should you? Like, because and you say it all the time, and it's the same thing. They really don't care. Like, it's what it is. It is what it is. They don't have that much shows. They don't have much shows. Like, after a while, I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. Like, they kind of turn me off because it's like, like, because you always like focusing, not you, I'm just saying, like, the people that, not just you, but the people that kind of like investing in them, and they not really kind of, they really don't care. I don't know how to explain it, but
well, his thing is,
I'm
there's something
just
to do.
looking at me. I just kind of like, it is what it is. Like, I don't, me
The
personally,
thing
I don't care. You know,
that's you, but I'm different. I'm not you. But here's the thing is, it's not. It should not just be me who should care. It's also your competitors. This is your sport.
but they don't care. Like, they
Yeah,
just don't care.
but
They
some
don't
that do care.
care.
But
I
the
know
gap,
some of them
yeah,
care, but look
but
how the effects of it is.
yeah,
Like, it's
but
the same thing. It ain't no different than 2 years ago. Like, you were saying that like 2 years ago. Like, correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah, but you know what? It has gotten just a tad bit better. Like it's still again that guy Austin Carr in Vegas. He's added a new show to the lineup because he wanted the opportunity for because somebody if it wasn't listening to me, somebody listened. If it was listening to me, somebody listened. and they're doing
It's whatever,
something.
man. It's whatever, but you know, it's
Yeah.
always it's like it's the same thing to me. I don't know.
But the thing is, if you're passionate about something, you follow your passion. I like watching sport. I'm a fan of the sport. I'm passionate about it. Yes, I see the bullshit and the politics and all stuff like that. But you know what? That's the thing about anything. It's just like this. Anything worth having, you have to really put the work into it. If you want
I
more
don't
for
understand
yourself,
that. I don't understand that.
that's you. You don't understand that, but some people do.
It's
Well,
whatever. It's whatever. I'm just
yeah, it's
saying. That's
whatever. Yeah, you were saying the same. But
whatever.
let me say this, brother. This is my shit. I feel the shit. Me. This
I'm
guy
just
Rich.
listening to it because you did
I know. I know you.
most of the talking. That's why
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
saying it because you just saying the same thing. I mean, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
I know.
I'm
You
just
know. I
saying
know.
it like
I know. I know. You're not being
it's just the
disrespectful.
same
That's
thing that I'm hearing all the time.
yeah.
That's all.
I know you're not being disrespectful, but that's why we have feedback. That's why we have discussions. Like the situation I have with a certain dude. I'm not gonna make his name because he's not worth mentioning. But he, you know what? He was that type of person who tried to have good common sense conversation. Have to listen to one people's side. Like I'm hearing your side, and also I'm hearing my side. And the thing is, if there's people out there who's willing and wanting to put up a fight for themselves in the division, good. If not, then like I say, lay down or get laid down. That's a choice you have. You know, you can
I'm
either
gonna say it like this. Good luck, ladies. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna
That's
good
all.
luck.
Yeah, that's all I did. Good luck. Best of luck. We got here. Shout out to my man here, Josh Sickles. Another figure competitor that would do well in physique is Jennifer Zinart. All she has to do is add a little more size to her legs. Yeah, possibly. Like I said, I'm this weekend is the coming next weekend is the San Antonio. Shout out to my friend Eunice. She's gonna be there. Eunice and Bad Rap are going to sponsor that show. They're gonna put a jacket and some prize money. And as a lady, she just followed me on my IG, and she is a figure competitor. And both her and her sister are both figure competitors. And she's planning to do the show. The she also did mm, the
He breaking up.
what who me?
Nah, when you was talking, it sounded like you was breaking up.
No, I was snapping. Yeah.
No, I did. I was hearing breaking up while you was talking.
Oh,
I don't know if
uh,
Alex heard it, but I don't know.
you hear it?
You're what?
Nah, you fine now. I'm just saying before
Yeah. Remember
while you
some
was talking.
yeah, something going on with my Wi-Fi sometime. We had an outage a while back, and somebody I think that's effect. But this one lady, she's done at least 6 shows this year, and she competes in figure. She's been Olympian before. Her name is Gabriella. Her last name I'm not gonna mess it up because and I know Eunice been talking with her, and she could be if she take the time off. Maybe she did the Rising Phoenix. She did the show in Florida, the Florida Pro. She did a bunch of shows this year. She could be if she take the time off. And I talked about it before. Look at her shoulders, look at her lats. I've mentioned this lady before. Her lats are bigger than some women in figure and some women's physique. Her back is that's a lot of density. Just need to bring more size in the legs and the quads. I mean, you know, some of these ladies, I understand this again, they don't want to go up because they feel like it's not division for them. But when you are getting past the like when her waistline is a little thicker, we look at it, it should be more tapered in. You um, there's one lady who also competed at the show, Jillian Kovac, and Jillian used to compete in the women's bodybuilding back in the day, and she came back doing figure. And I watched it, and I think she was her. No, no, she needs to really think about if you're not going to do women's bodybuilding, you should do um, you know physique. We got here. Shout out to my man. She says, "Interesting, George. Would you suggest that to her twin, Teresa. Not so much Teresa. If Teresa, I think she might be still a bit smaller compared to Gabriella. Possibly, but you can see a slightness between them. Shout out to my man, Hank the Tank says KL sounds like he doesn't care about watching the bodybuilding competition. Granted, it's not the most exciting thing to watch in hindsight.
I mean, I just like the women with muscles, man. I'm not gonna lie. I just like, I try to understand it, but but it's like the same thing. Just it ain't that much competitors, or you know, another division, somebody don't like it, and I don't know, man. I'm not always into sports like that. I just like the women with muscles. That's it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, it's like right now we have the start of the NFL season just started, and there's people who are really they're like when I heard that when there was a guy who was traded on the Cowboys, they traded a fullback. People were really pissed because they were pissed at Jerry Jones because the Cowboys are struggling. One guy who's a fan of the Pittsburgh, they lost a game. He was really it's people be obsessed about their sports. That's just how it is. It'll be
Sometimes the way I feel like that, like I feel that same way with basketball. It's like sometimes I'll look at it and I'll be like, I'm watching these dudes and they making more money than me. I'm like, get out of here. These young dudes and stuff like that. So sometimes, with sports, I always have like this reluctant thing, with the women, it just, I I just like it entertain. They just entertain me with in different ways. That's it.
Mhm.
But the sport, I just like, I see it and it's like okay, and that's it. But it don't really like it. I don't know. Like it just I don't really got no explanation, but
Well, everybody, like I say, they find something about a sport they like, and they may not find a sport they may not be interested in. Said earlier, right now, David sent me a thing. It was a picture. It was about they have. And I think I sent it to you. They have a
Cherry,
championship.
yeah, yeah.
What the?
But they not gonna,
Sorry about that.
they don't really care.
Yeah,
They don't care about
Do you hear
the
me?
yeah, I can
yeah,
hear you.
you
Yeah,
yeah, you
Can you
you
hear
hear
me?
us?
yeah. You hear us? It might be you might be on mute. Check if you're on mute. You know, Let me see. Looks at the message to him. Says
With
something.
the chubby thing, people not they I don't know, like, with
Hello?
the body movement, they not gonna
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing is,
tell them
you
to
know,
log off and come back in. I don't know if
yeah.
that's
You might
gonna
have
work.
to, yeah, you might have to log off and come back here. If not, we probably won't be out here too much longer.
Yeah.
You might have, yeah. If he heard, it might be something wrong with his line. But that's the thing is, with any sport, people find something they like about it and something they don't like about it. Like I said, doing this content, you know, I start to learn because the thing is, you're gonna sometimes ladies ask you questions about something, and you're not saying you have to be an expert. You just gotta understand the nuances and what's involved in it, and then it'll take long to say, you know what? Yeah, I have ladies even sometimes it's true. I have ladies send me progress pictures. Tell me what you
Oh,
think.
what
Progress pictures. The pictures they send you, like they send to the
progress?
coaches.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
they send to the coach, and then you might say, "Hey, I want you to get your feedback on this." I said, "Well, you look pretty
Well,
good."
I mean, but I think they connect with you more than the more than I get connected with the other women. Like, I mean, they connect with the women, connect with you
Can
more
you hear
than
me?
me
Yeah, we
connecting
can hear you.
with
Can you
with with me with you know what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't have that connection with them like that. That's what I'm saying. I just try to understand certain things they do, but and and I've attended some shows, but it's not like my mind is just constantly thinking about bodybuilding. I'm not, because I mean, there's other things I'm be looking at. It be distracting me. You know, that's it.
Well, I talk about other stuff. I talk about MMA, mixed martial arts, fighters, but this is kind of like I said again, this is my bread and butter. It's something I really have invested myself into. And also done other things. Some things I don't get too much of the politics stuff because it can be a pain. Politics
Yeah, I
can,
know you. I know. I've seen you. I trust me. I've seen you. That other side of you.
yeah, that's not
Trust
it.
me.
It's I will, but what is it, Alex? What is it?
Well, since my brother called me and it ruined my microphone and camera, I had to restart this. I had to restart my way back in. So
You fine. You fine.
You're fine, son.
You
You're fine.
fine.
You're fine. We get a comment from a man, Hate the Tank. Shout out to him. He says, sounds like the negative schmo stereotype fans get. I think most women bodybuilders do interviews with folks who are in the industry. If that makes sense, just observation. Yeah, I think women feel comfortable with somebody who understands the sport, or who are like themselves bodybuilders. Every now and then they'll talk to somebody who might want to share their story. That's why, even though I'm not into sport, I'm not a bodybuilder, I'm a fan. But that's the thing is they have to be willing and wanting to talk to us because none of the people are given the opportunities. Other than Female Bodybuilding Channel, there's Claudio over there, his channel. My man David, he's blowing up. Also, he had Didi, and Didi wasn't a bodybuilding fan, but he still did it anyway because for him it was his bread and butter. But now he's still, even though he doesn't do interviews, he's still posting old interviews every now and then. This
Now,
is
don't get
from
me wrong. I appreciate the women with working out and doing what they doing, but it's like I don't know if I always want to invest my time so much, and then it's like they don't care, so
well,
whatever.
but then there's those that do care, and those ones who reach out and they want to know something, want to
Yeah,
ask
I'm
something
just
about.
saying it in general. I know there's ones that do care. I'm just saying in general. It's a generalization. If it wasn't a generalization, you wouldn't have this topic. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. I know there's ones do care, but I'm just kind of like focusing the generalization of it
Mhm.
because it seemed like it's like it's not a big deal to them. So
Well, it's the thing is some of them don't want to rock the boat. Instead, again, some don't want to. If they know there's something wrong and this can be fixed, they don't want to say nothing. They just want to. Like I said again, they will say I often say a closed mouth doesn't get fed. They
I
feel like they feel
go
like
ahead.
that. They feel like if they do something that then they can be penalized for it. They can be faulted.
How,
That's why they just roll with emotions and just accept things as they are. But then they'll
how do
be
you
on the back end complaining.
okay, so how do you look at Hannah Hussein? She talks about stuff that the PDs and the PEDs and all this anabolic steroids and stuff like that in her podcast where other bodybuilders they don't want to talk about that.
Because she wants to share her experience. And most people don't like a while back I was I do some of my like when I do a birthday video, I take pictures and stuff. And one lady told me, I wish you didn't show these old pictures because they want to assume the image. Because some lady would tell me, hey, they love the old pictures, they love the throwback because that tells you who you were before to who you are now. Some others want to presume this image that you always was a bodybuilder. No, you was always a bodybuilder. You started out, you were a young lady or a young man. You grow, you evolve, you found the sport, and you evolve with the sport. You tell a story of a person of from who they were to who they are now. It's the evolution of any human. But someone try to assume this image of that they were always this is that. But this thing is for people to know who you were, who you are now, they want to know who you were before. That's why like when I do interviews, hey ladies, send me pictures of with yourself, like maybe something where you were before, your live pictures, early stuff like that. And, because some ladies say, I don't want you to show me that. I don't want you to show that. But the thing is, let me know. That's why I start asking, hey, before we do an interview, give me some information about yourself. Send me some pictures you feel comfortable with me using. I will use one picture. I might go through a couple pictures and use them as maybe for the cover for the YouTube, and then The others I'm going to use to tell a story in my social media, you know, with the information you give me. Sometimes I break it down because sometimes a lot of information, like my interview with one lady last week, she told me a lot of stuff about herself and I couldn't pull it all. So I just took pieces and bits and put it together. That's the thing is some people want to assume this image and they want to hide the truth. There's a lot of stuff to this sport that need to be told, but someone want to say like, if I say something, then it's not any good for me. No, it's good to let everybody knows what it's involved with. She's talking about her experience, but most don't want to talk about that. The fact is, yeah, they do take performance enhancers. It's not like, hey, you can't build a body like that just on eating chicken and rice and doing stairmats to lift the weights. You need something to give you that extra push. I know a lady who I interviewed a while back. She talked about her use of PEDs and stuff like that. And I remember when she was making comments about winning bodybuilders, and I said, hey, I told somebody, hey, I'm about to interview her. Somebody told me, say, George, I want you to get her. I want you to get her. What do you want me to get her? Well, she just like I said, I'm just gonna have a conversation with her. But then, when I got in the position, I just let her, talk herself into it. And then they said, George, what? You didn't have to do anything. She just pretty much he just really just talked her ass into it. Because I just asked her the basic questions, had a conversation back and forth, and then she said her thoughts, and then the rest of the stuff she just kind of told her herself. Sometimes you don't need to do much. Some people some people want to tell the truth, but they be scared because they feel like everybody can look at it as funny. But you're in a sport where you're all pretty much doing the same thing. We got here. Shout out to my man Josh Simpkins says, "I'm a Cowboys fan. I was upset when Micah Parsons left, but at the end of the day, players come and go. But the thing is, hey, if you have a good player, it's happened. Well, I'm trying to remember years ago. I remember I was never been a Cowboys fan, but Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson, when he was the coach of the Cowboys, and that year he left. I remember Michael Irvin because that used to be his coach when he used to play at Miami. Michael Irvin just went off. He just, Michael, Michael Irvin, he just went off. He lost it. But they still won another Super Bowl, but then it wasn't the same because, problem was that the owner and the coach didn't get along. The thing is, they should leave the personal shit to the side, focus on the business. Sometimes I've seen players get traded and then that team just fall to shit. That's how it is sometimes. You just got to be, understand that player might cost you more, but hey, you got the money, you can pay for it, Jerry Jones. This is from intent because if you want to have a actual conversation with an athlete at a bodybuilding show, you should really follow the sport. Just my 2 cents. I appreciate that.
I do look at the sport. I've been to bodybuilding shows. Like you know what I'm saying? It's not like I haven't been to a bodybuilding show.
You have been. And you have talked to some competitors. You have talked to you've done OCB shows.
I don't not to cut you off. I haven't been like talking to all of them like that.
But you have talked to some.
Yeah, I've spoke to them.
That's it. That's good.
And I've reached out. I try to reach out to them at Instagram, and it's not always easy all the time. So
I know.
hey,
I'm telling you the truth. It's not easy all the time for me either. I've done interviews. What?
Likewise,
yeah. Share your experience.
Yes, I agree. It's not easy. I get that. I get it.
Yeah. Everybody's experience is gonna be different, but some of these ladies are kind of cautious. Some of the ladies don't need unless when I send my message, I always leave the my not my IG but my YouTube because this is my bread and butter here, my YouTube. I leave my YouTube link. Some ladies will go in. Some ladies like the stuff. Some ladies don't. One lady told me because she's a Christian, she didn't feel like she wanted to talk to me because some stuff I was really because I'm not gonna be. I said like this. I can either tell you a pretty lie or the ugly truth. And sometimes the truth can be ugly. And if you want the pretty lie, I'm not the one here for that. You got to see how things are. Some things are not going to be where you want them to be. So they said, hey, that's the thing I want to talk about. Well, I won't mention about you, but I will talk about it because sometimes you just can't hide away from that. If you don't talk about it, then it's just the individual later on it's going to be a problem. Then you say like, why they don't speak on it? Some of these ladies have some mental issues. Comes with like I remember my interview with Kim G. She's been through a lot, and bodybuilding is a sport that kind of help her through that. Divorce, drug addiction, family abuse. Some of these ladies been through some things that most people may have been through it too. That's why it should be a good open discourse, good conversation. I ask questions, but at the same time, I want you to talk to me like we're on a like we're doing a job interview or we're on a first date where we can know something about each other. When I tell you something about me, you tell you something about yourself, and we try to understand what got us here. You know? We also go into have a little fun because some ladies tell me they told me, hey, I feel comfortable with you because I want you to feel comfortable. I know some ladies say I'm kind of scared. I don't know this, but that thing is you have to get yourself out there. You never know when you get a situation where you might get approached by somebody. Hey, they want to ask you a question about you. You want to know who you are. This is the thing you got to break. Like I said this when I went to Tampa. I told myself I have to get out of my own way because sometimes I can be my own worst enemy. That's the thing. You have to. Sometimes you have to, like you, Alex. You go out there. You go to the shows. You've been out there. KL, you've been going to shows. You've been going out there. You're doing something that you wouldn't typically do usually because you're trying to see another side of yourself and also something else that's maybe that you're familiar with, but you don't know all the details of it.
That's why I'm here. I'm learning from you, and I think I'm getting as much as I can right now, save for jail.
That's good, learn. But also use what you have learned from not just from me, from other people. People like Eunice, the ladies you have become friendly with. Use that information to help you along the way. I'm happy to educate you, son. I'm happy to, but also you have to educate yourself too.
Yeah, you ever thought about interviewing? Like, I don't know. Everybody, it may not be for everybody. I was just asking.
What, me interviewing ladies? Well, first off, I don't have the budget right now.
you
Considering
don't.
I have a brother who has more experience than me, then I should ask him.
You don't need a budget. I don't have. I live on Social Security. I'm about broke. Just pay my rent, pay my insurance, my life insurance, pay my light bill. All you need is just a computer. I have also. You see, I got a tag. I have a GoFundMe, a Cash App. I remember a while back when my cousin sent me $30 in my Venmo. I appreciate that. But I don't have a budget. I got time. I got nothing to do. I don't have a real job. I'm not working anymore any place. I got time. It's not about as much as about money. It's about time. You have the time. You have the patience.
There's
You know,
some do be wanting you to pay.
yeah. And the thing is, I don't do that. I do this. I say like before the interview, I offered, hey,
I would like to try interviewing, but I think I'm fine what I'm doing right now because I
Nah,
think it
it's
helps me
cool.
stand out from the
It's cool.
community. You do
It's
the
yeah,
cool.
interviews, I do the drawing.
yeah,
That's
do what you do best for you.
It's cool.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't do pays because I remember a while back, one lady we both know, I said, no, I'll do this. I offer it because I get stuff on discount because I'm my disability, I get stuff on discount. It's not too expensive because my insurance covers some stuff and I get it from discount. I'll fix a package. It'll be stuff that they might need as training or they're working out, or just service around the house. I can get it at a discount rate because I get it, because I have my my health insurance can cover some stuff. And I don't need a lot of stuff, just maybe just food, stuff like that, little stuff around the house, that sort of stuff. And then I have some stuff for, hey, you know what? I can get some stuff on sale. So I, just sent a lady a box just last week. She probably should get it by the end of the day. And I have ladies say, George, I appreciate that because sometimes, little things can help you. Money goes. So you get money, it's gone. It's gone. By the time you buy this is gone. But you get something like a nice little package, where just something like maybe you might need some like a nice ice pad or maybe toothbrush or stuff like just toiletries. I remember one lady said she appreciated the fact that I sent some toiletries and stuff because she might have needed around her house. And then stuff you might need when you're working on a train, like maybe a heat pad or something like that. Those things don't cost too much. I put them together. If you look at the price of it's pretty good, but you know what? It's worth it because sometimes you never know when you help somebody out. It never hurts to help because sometimes it's a struggle. Being a bodybuilder, unless you're the lucky few who got sponsors, the lucky few who make a good living, you can do bodybuilding. But the majority of these competitors, they're living uh, hand to mouth and check to check, and they still do the sport because they love it because it's a passion. So, gentlemen, the future of the Rising Phoenix. Yeah, it's up to the women. This is just the other divisions will still come out and show out. Like I said, there was like at least maybe 30 women in physique, almost a little more in the other divisions. Women's bodybuilding, other than fitness is the only one that I think they had six. Shout out to Taylor Lamont, who won the title. She's on her way. As you know, now this year the fitness division is open. because the former champ, Missy Trescott, is over in figure, and figure is open because the former champ is yesterday was a birthday, Cindy Gillett, and also I want to give a shout out to a lady yesterday's birthday, Romana Scottson. Congratulations, her and her boyfriend Dan are now engaged. They sent me a picture, say it was a nice gift she got. She appreciated the video I posted on my IG. She just started, yeah. You remember Romana?
Yeah, Ramona, she
pic.
recently got proposed. Not only she had her birthday this weekend, but she got proposed. This is
Yes, yes,
well, that must be the best birthday that any bodybuilder has ever gotten so far.
yeah. Romana, her boyfriend, her and Dan, they've been together for a long time, and they got engaged. As you know, Romana, she this year she made her women's bodybuilding debut. She did the Imperial. She's hoping to do another show, but circumstances. She's still switching new divisions sometimes a lot. Here she is. That's her boyfriend Dan, her future
Oh,
husband.
you
Yeah,
interviewed her. She from the UK, right?
yeah,
Yep,
she's from the
England.
UK, Great Britain.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
England.
Her
Okay.
boyfriend's also a bodybuilder. Says, "Fuck yes, finally you." Buzzing, happy for the both.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
that's cool.
Yeah, this is from a friend of theirs. Resizing should be easy enough. By congratulations, both of you. Says this from another friend. This is a lot of people are very happy for because I think this might be. I remember she told me how mama don't like her doing bodybuilding. I should ask how your mama feel now that you are now a body that now you're about to get married. But Romana, she has a good. She made a switch. She also made a switch because after she did a couple of shows last year, they're telling her, you should think about moving up. And she competed in Olympia back in 2022. And she was hoping maybe she make a return. I thought she might do another show, but maybe next year. Maybe she should have just took this year off and to work on it. This is the video we did.
Tampa, Texas, they were all stacked WPD shows. Like more competitors than bikini, arguably, at those shows. I'm not entirely sure the numbers of bikini, but I know at Chicago and Atlanta there was more women's physique competitors than there was bikini. That's quite unusual. We're open, we talk about it, but you look at other sports over the course of history, and there's still athletes that have been done, and I think that's part of it. You're classified as a cheat because they are cheating because they're meant to be natural and they're using performance enhancers. And I don't know whether that stigma then carries on over to bodybuilding, but it's not cheating in our sport because everyone's on the same playing field. Unless if you want to say natural, you've got your natural federations, but I don't know if that kind of mindset stigma is over from the fact that it is cheating to bodybuilding. When you consider like athletics, people have got done year after year after year for doping, and it rightly so, perceived badly. And then I don't know, like I say, I think that mindset just carries on over to bodybuilding. In healthcare in the UK, bodybuilders do get stigmatized a lot by healthcare professionals because they are steroid users and almost deprived of healthcare, whereas an alcoholic or a drug addict would get healthcare. A steroid, oh no, you need to stop going to the gym, you need to stop doing all of that before we can treat you. Well, that's not right. I want to go to the Olympia again without feeling so fatigued from a diet so I can actually enjoy the process. And I want it to be in Vegas just because, yeah. But bodybuilding for me, I've always wanted to be good at something. I've tried so many sports growing up: athletics, swimming, hockey, like field hockey. We don't do the ice hockey thing over here, lacking in ice. Put on the spot like that, I can't think of something. Oh, I want this or I want that, other than to go back to the Olympia.
Yes.
Something that I'm actually kind of good at, and that to me it's just amazing to be able to be a professional within a sport that I'm also so passionate about. But it's kind of that. It just feeling like I belong as well. Bodybuilding's given me that. So as
Yeah.
Tampa.
Congratulations to her and Dan. I mean, she's an amazing lady. Great opportunity to have her as a guest. She's also working with other friends about sport of bodybuilding, promoting, whatever else. I mean, she's a great person. I got to give a shout out for that. We got here to my man, XA Gucci 23 coming through. He says,
Hey,
salute
what's up?
George, KL, and Alex. Thank you, brother. Also, shout out to my man here, Joshua, because it's all about building your audience and staying consistent on your content. I appreciate that.
Agreed.
Yeah. Also from Vinny K. Vinny says, congrats to Romana Scottson. Much blessings to both. So congratulations. But like the thing is, they know what they want to do, but they choose. There's people out there who want to help them, but you got to be willing and wanting to let them into your to help. But also be cautious. Some people will try to take advantage of you. But again, this is your sport. If you want to survive, you want to get something, you have to really come together. I know probably this year some ladies are still, like my man Keith saying this, some ladies are still probably covering the cost from the last year. Maybe this year we're going to see a big spike because now you have the Rising Phoenix Open show, and I know we're talking with Andrea Sauer. She said she would love to have more shows because she lives in California. She would love to have more shows closer to her in the West. Some ladies don't have to go all the way to New York or Atlanta or Tampa to do a show. Now you have at least this coming this year, you have 4 West Coast shows for bodybuilding, especially for the women. You have now the Rising Phoenix Open show, which it should have been here a long time ago, because it's technically is even though when it was a Rising Phoenix World Championship, it still was a little bit qualifier. But then you have Andrea, whoever else is in the top 3, and we already with the qualification from winning shows. No one else is going to get a qualification at that show from Olympia. Now you have the Grand Prix has returned. And 10 ladies. I remember Keith told me the promoter said they have more bodies they had last year. Not as many as they had last year, but still in double digits. He'll have it again. And you have the triple O. I know it's a little early for some competitors, but hey, that's a show you should jump on. Hey, you can skip the holidays, enjoy yourself, get ready prep for that show. Hey, you want to get out of the way, you want to get your labor qualification soon. Shout out to Slika Jones who won. Slika Gibbs who won the show, and also the new Steve Carr show, which is going to be qualification for next year's Olympia. So if you compete at that show, you get it out of the way. You can sit, relax, chill. You want to do another show just for the hell of it, mid season. That's good. But then you have that qualification in your belt. But also, wish the best of luck to Arsenio. Hope she does get some help. It's tough. I mean, somebody sooner. If somebody, hey guys, if you got $20,000, if you can buy expensive Blanco shoes and $5,000 pair of jeans, hey, you can send somebody, hey, to help her with her bills. Hey, hey, pay for a trip. Reach out to her. Her coach is Robert Phil. He's a pretty good guy. You had an interview with him a while back. Hey, tell her, hey Robert, what you need for your girl. Let us know. We can help you out. Because he's Brazilian, but he speaks English pretty good, so he can be a translator if you want to do something. But the Rising Phoenix is a great show. I still love it. Just kind of disappointing on the outcome of it. Not as many ladies as was before in the past, but maybe next year, maybe ladies say, you know what, now it's some ladies who now have the opportunity to do the show. They probably jump on it next year. But again, it could be the cost or anything else, or just some people maybe just not very happy how it has changed to a regular show. But that's up to y'all, nobody else. So, gentlemen, I appreciate your time you've given me, your viewpoints, your thoughts. That's why I always have an open. I wish some of you ladies do come on here, but you know what? I'm a quote from a man, the great late, the Captain Redneck Dick Murkoch. Nothing but a bunch of yellow belly egg sucking dogs. You say that about Dusty Rhodes. Yeah. Here's shout out to a man, Hank the Tank. He says, "What's the issue, Alcino? I didn't understand." Well, she's being sued by a company that she said it broke a contract with her. It's 200,000 reais. That's the Brazilian equivalent money. If you go into money transfer, and I think Brazil. Let me see if I can type it up way here. Give me a second.
Make this longer.
The Brazilian currency to United States currency. All right. For okay, $1 is 19 cents to American dollar. So you got to think about it. If you take and let's see if there's a calculator. I think if you pay, let's see, what's 20?
I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna head out. Okay.
All right, appreciate it.
All right.
Okay.
Starting.
Bye.
Yeah. Thank you, man, Kev, coming through. But for it's like every I think for $1 in Rios, it's $19 US, 19 cents in US. So when like my friend, she was over there. She was working with some fighters because she's a fighter herself. She was a little short on cash. She was getting hungry. I said her $20. That $20 was almost like equivalent of sending somebody $200 because because down below the border, the American dollar is more. Even though it's not as high like here in the States, other countries like England and the other parts in the world, the American dollar is less. But Mexico, Brazil, those countries south of the border, the American you can take $2,000, you live like a king. Well, brother, I appreciate you and Kay for coming through. I wish you the best the rest of your week.
Thanks. I hope so. I'm really so annoyed right now. Why is my job like this now? I kept waiting and waiting and nothing came up this past. I did. It's almost like I did something wrong, even though I clearly did. It's like a scam all of a sudden.
So it's like any job. Sometimes you have the good days, have the bad days. I have my good days, and I have my
Look, I'm
bad
sorry if I was being
days.
impatient, but I'm sorry. It's just like made my promise to my brother. I just didn't realize how long this was going. Oh my, I understand. I was
You
like,
see,
hey, I get it. I get it.
I,
Can
I'm
we
I'm
please
going
end this?
I'm going to talk to you as a man who has a younger brother. I understand. There's nothing. He understands that there's nothing he can do about it. He has to. You're like you. He has to wait it out. He'll probably happy to hit you because you're his baby brother. He loves you, and there's nothing you can do about your job. Your
Brother loves
job.
you. He's you. My brother can be a little sensitive sometimes, but he's a nice
Yeah,
guy once you get to know
yeah,
him.
yeah. That's the thing is, we brothers. Sometimes I had an older brother. I loved him. He was the reason why I started doing this because he's the muscle max. But it's just sometimes it happens. We're going through hard times right now this year. I lived through it. I lived through both the Reagan administration and the two Bush administrations. Thank God for Bill Clinton. Thank God for Obama. But right now, it's going to be a little tough. We're going to have to survive. We have to bite down. We have to maybe make a dollar bleed and stretch it a little bit. But it's going to be all right. You just got to roll with the punches. Take a deep breath, step back, and all you can do is do what you can do. If you can't find another job, that's good. I used to hold down two jobs. That's tough to do. But if you
I
can, that's
just,
gonna be.
and look, I wasn't bored by the conversation. I just didn't realize how much this was dragging, and I just wanted. I understand it's not easy being a fan. I get it. I understand some women don't understand their fans. I get it. I just, I'm just learning from the best right now, and I'm just hope they can
What?
understand.
What? He's done the best. I'm like, tell her, you did it with the best. You're like 8 years old, man. You made me proud. I'm very proud. I'm turning my daughter. You're Sosa. I don't like him. There's only two words there's only two things I don't break, son. That's my word and my balls, and don't break them for nobody. But thank you for telling me that. I said to the ladies who tell me, say, George, you're the best. Nah, I'm just a muscle person, more like buff chicks. That's all. But I thank you for that, son. I really thank you. I hope all the best for you and all the best for your family, and maybe things get better. It's just gonna be, like I said, a little tight. You just gotta roll with the punches. So you gotta, like Rocky Balboa said, it's not how hard you think it hits, how hard you take the hits, and keep moving forward. You gotta keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
That's keep moving forward. That's Walt Disney's quote. That's always been. Oh, sorry. That's keep moving forward. That was Walt Disney's line.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But folks, I'd like to thank my man Kid, the one who came through here. Shout out to my man Josh Simpkins, my man Laura, my brother's you know, Execution 23. Shout out to all of you who was here who watched this. Shout out to the ladies. Wish her best of luck. Next weekend, so again, I don't know if they're gonna have pay-per-view or not. But it's kind of tight. I might not watch it. I just maybe catch some here and there. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. If like I said, it's about end of the month for me, and so you got a couple more weeks, and then I gotta stretch a dollar. Gotta stretch a dollar. So, but thank you again, Alex. I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you. Have a good night, George. I really need to catch. There are some things I need to catch up on right now because I hope my bird's not upset at the moment.
Go ahead and go. You can leave. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. It's nice talking to you.
You too. It's great talking to you. So, folks, I appreciate my guests for coming through. I appreciate it for listening. Shout out to the Wings of Strength. Still having the rising things, even though it's not the same show it used to be. But you ladies, up to you. No one, you can use all the excuses you can say, but For only the sport survive, you have to come up. You have to show out. If not, then don't be saying, hey, why we don't got this? Because you know it's about you. And you're not entitled to anything. No one owes you nothing. This world owes you nothing. You more or less owe it. But you know what? You're not gonna listen. So like Conan says, the hell with them. Anyway, you can be on with your page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out. Good afternoon, good night, and God bless.